Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let's do a quick little audio and video test. Everything is okay, guys? Let me know. Just gonna go ahead and post while you guys let me know if audio and video is clear. I'm gonna go post on Twitter and Discord, get everybody in here. All right. Perfect. Jeff, LFG, let's go. Oscar, good morning, good morning. Don, good morning. Robert, good morning, good morning, good morning. Don, good morning. Mia, good morning. Eddie, good morning. Joe, good morning. Perfect. All right. So I think audio and video is good. We should be okay to get going here. Just gonna wait a few minutes for everyone to kind of tune in here. Usually I like to wait about 5 minutes for people to kind of roll in, and we'll get started around 8:35. Joe, good morning. Philip, my man, good morning. Bullets, what's going on, my man? Mr. Oliveras, what's going on? Derek, good morning. Rayhan, good morning. Edgar, good morning. Simon, morning from Toronto. It's a little chilly over here, man. I got my toque on and everything. Lauren, good morning. Patrick, good morning. Raid, good morning. Hamid, good morning, good morning. Nancy, I hope you're well. I love you. Good morning. Jeff Droughty, good morning. Concept, do you have video on your trading journey, Mr. Investor? Yes, there's one on YouTube actually with broken laptops, holes in walls, and everything. Got pretty close to that yesterday, not gonna lie. Alan, good morning. Alvarez, what's up? Charlie, good morning. Alright guys, gonna wait about 2 more minutes to get everyone kind of rolling here, and we'll get it going here. All right. Samuel, what's up? All right, lots of people tuning in here. Early morning. Good to see you guys are still waking up despite the pretty shitty market we've had last couple of days. So if you guys are awake and ready for it, go ahead and smash that like button. Appreciate it if you guys do. G5, my man, what's going on? Daryl, good morning. Samuel, no worries. Mr. Needham, good morning. Mel's, good morning. All right. 8:34. We'll wait about another minute and we'll get things going here. Ricardo, first time watching live. Good morning, everyone. Well, welcome, Mr. Ricardo. All right. Let's get this going here. So I cleaned up my SPY chart for you guys a little bit, otherwise it would have looked like this. So we'll keep it on here. All right guys, a few more seconds here and we'll get going. Again, thank you all for tuning in again. A little bit of a shit show in the market, but we tune in and day out, and that's how we become better traders, by going through these motions of what the market gives us. Good morning. Danilo, good morning. All right, guys, 8:35. So let's get into it. Quite a few things to kind of cover here. As you can see, the SPY daily chart is up here. And what do we got? We have pretty much a massive gap up and then just total collapse after that. All right, obviously some statements were said, new cases of Omicron, whatever the damn virus name is, came out, and we lost that 50 moving average, right? Two pretty red volume bars above average here, so a little bit of things, something to be concerned of here a little bit, and losing the 50. All right, areas to watch on the downside, we have some support at the 448, 446, and ultimately that 443. Now what happens oftentimes when we close under that 50 moving average, you can see previously when we've done that, we've kind of pulled back a little bit further into that, closer to that 200, right? If we go back a little bit here, we could see that it does happen once or twice here. Let's go back a little bit more. So it happened again back here on September 20th, 2020. We lost the 50. We came back a little bit closer to that 200 moving average again right here in March 2021, and then again here recently in September 2021. All right, so you can see some sort of a little repetitive pattern happening here. Anyways, with that said, let's take a look at a closer time frame. Look at the levels that we're looking at today. We can see that we popped up to this 454 level that I had drawn here. Obviously some resistance clearly visible here, and we're kind of rolling over here. All right, not a good look in the meantime unless we get back above that 454. All right, that 450 level is the level that I'm monitoring today. All right, if we can hold that 450, we could look for a move back up to the 454, and we really need to clear that 454 in order to make a move back up to this 457, 458 area. All right, however, lots of stocks are looking very weak right now. So if we do open and there's panic selling taking place again, we could very easily roll over the 450 and see it pull down to the 448 and ultimately the 446 level. All right, really need these levels to kind of just hold up a little bit. If not, we do have some pockets that we can come down to, 443 and ultimately the 441. So at the open, something to keep an eye on is that 450 and that 454. All right, above the 454, we might be in a little position where we can see continuation, at least try to push back up to this 458, lose the 450, then we're in a little bit of a tight spot again where selling pressure across the market is going to open up, and we might see that further downside move. All right, let's take a look at the Qs. So what seemed to be doing very well overall up until yesterday was the Qs. It was performing better than the SPY. We were staying above that 20-day moving average, and yesterday we kind of gave all of that back. All right, and that's clear across the board. When you look at some of the tech names, they've put in this little W or double top, sorry, not WM, double top formation, and just kind of pulling down here. So the levels that we're monitoring today on the Qs, again, would have to be this 386 level, which ultimately right now is falling down. But there is a little gap here that we can fill into the 383. That's going to be the level to monitor on the Qs. If we can pull down to this level, hold it, then we should see a pop back up to that 387. However, lose that level, then we are in the works to kind of come down to this 370, 379, and ultimately this 376 level, right? These are little support areas that I have drawn. The big ones being 383, 379, and that 376 level that needs to hold, right? So with the Qs, we're watching this 383 level to see if it can hold. And with the SPY, we're watching that 450 level to see if that 450 level can hold, and if the 454 level will break to the upside. All right, that's as far as that goes. I'm gonna go over the 3 tickers that I posted for you guys. A lot of you guys still have questions in regards to how to take these alerts, how to take these triggers. So we'll talk about the first one on the list here, and I'm gonna pull up Dash. All right, now Dash here, let's pull up the daily so I can show you guys what I mean. We have this aggressive selling happening on Dash, and this 160 area is a level that I'm kind of monitoring. All right, there's a big pocket here on the daily, so not much support happening here from this 160 and under, right? There's nothing really here. If we look to the left, it's a straight move up, and with straight moves up means that we can get straight moves down. Why? Because we don't have any price action, meaning there isn't much support here. Right? So if we look at the 15-minute chart here, This 160 level is going to be that whole number. We had some support at 160.88. If we can get under the 160, we should see a nice flush down, and that's kind of what I'm looking for on Dash. However, pop back up over that 165 level, right? We should see the move back up to these resistance areas of at least the moving averages of the 170, which can act as resistance. All right, so that's the idea on Dash. Next one on the list is Coin. Coin, this 290-250 area is some support on this one. Loses that, we do have room to fall down. And on the upside, if market decides to rally, what I'm looking for is 298, right? Why? Because this shows us that we rolled over here. If we pop back up over the 298, we could see a short-term reversal till at least the 301 and then the 306. Now, if we take a look at the daily again, what are we looking at here? Under that 290-250 level, which is the prior support here, old support here. If that breaks, we're under the 50 moving average. We do have a nice pocket to the downside. All right, now if that reverses, great, we have the upside trade as well. Next one on the list, AFRM. I actually came across this again this morning, right? So what do we have here? We have AFRM losing this prior pivot right here. Let me get rid of this line. This prior pivot right here at 119. I lost it yesterday and does have room to come down to at least this 106 level. Why? Again, we have this pocket here on the daily that we're kind of monitoring, right? Lots of charts did this in the last few days. They broke down and they have this little pocket to kind of fill. So if we go into the 15-minute time frame, we can see that we're under that still, right? We popped back up, still acted as resistance and sold off. So on AFRM, I'm looking for that 115 area to break. If we break that 115 area, we should see further sell-off on this, as again, there is a pocket, so not much support. However, if we pop back up over that 118.50 level, we should see a push back up again to the moving average, and if not, at least to the 123 here yesterday. Now, how do you guys take these trades? There's a few ways you can do it. If it's within the first 10 minutes of market open, 5-10 minutes of market open, if those trigger levels come, you could essentially just get in on the puts or the calls, depending on which way it goes. With that, you risk being aggressive, and you risk it getting stuffed and rolling over. You could wait 15-20 minutes, about 45 minutes to see how it works, and if it still hasn't triggered, then if it does trigger, you want to wait for that breakout and then retest if it's past the 1 hour mark, because volume does slow down. All right, there's pros and cons to each way that you do it. If you do it within the first 5 to 10 minutes, you do get the chance that if it does break, it does push out, and you'll be able to catch the big chunk of the move. However, you also risk the fact that it could stuff down and it could roll over. So you have to be really careful with your stops as well in regards to that. All right, so I'm gonna pop into chat here, see if anyone has any questions, and go over some of the tickers that you guys want me to discuss, and hopefully I'll address some of the concerns you guys have and some of the stocks that you're watching. Just going through the chat here. Let's see. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's cold weather. What are some put options we can look at? So there's a couple you can look at. I posted on Twitter. If AFRM breaks down, if Dash breaks down, if Coin breaks down, those are all things that you can look at. I had Apple on the downside this morning. However, it's already, so this is a pretty nasty candle. If we were able to get under the 164.65, we would have seen a nice clean pull down to the 161, 159 area. But Apple has already made that move here in the pre-market, so I'm not interested in chasing puts on this name currently. Possibly maybe some sort of reversal, but I wouldn't be buying puts on this one here. All right. Take a look at BABA. All right, so we can start with the daily, see how the daily looks. So BABA 122 is the support here on BABA. If it loses that, has room to the 114. Let's take a look at the closer time frame. So same thing here again, right? If we lose the 122, we see a further flush. If it decides to hold here, it could have a little bounce day momentum move back up to that 125. In the short term, nothing really to get involved with on BABA. There's no pattern to kind of try to dip by this, but it is something that I'm holding long term and would actually add to it today if we see some basing happening. Take a look at DKNG. All right, DKNG. So another name that's breaking support, coming down to that 30-60 area. Little bit extended, selling increasing here. Something I would not be dip buying in the short term. If you guys have done your research on the company and understand what it is and how their finances look, then you can possibly start a long-term position on it. But obviously, long terms you have to start with one fifth of a position and then look to add. For a day trade aspect, under this 31 level, you could see this flush. However, there is that support at the 30-60. So I don't like buying things on the downside, especially when there's such close support right under it. All right. Possibly maybe on the long side, you could look for that 32 break, which brings it back above the 50-day moving average and then pushes it up. But for the put side, I'd be a little worried, or I'd actually wait for that 30-60 to break and see how that kind of pans out. Good to dip by cruise stock. I think cruise ships need some more time here. With this fear coming back again, I think people are just getting exhausted of cruise lines and everything that's going on with COVID. I think people are just getting exhausted on these cruise ships. So you really have to be careful, because now, if you take a look, this is the COVID drop. We do have a big pocket on most airlines, most cruise ships here. CCL, for example, could come down to this 14.95 level, right? Possibly maybe starting a position here for the long term would be better. But again, it's got to be long term, right? People are just getting tired of this. You know, if cruise ships can't go back to normal and there's more fears of COVID, they're just dumping this thing. And that was pretty ideal. That yesterday they just tanked all cruise ships, all airlines. They just plummeted yesterday again based on that COVID news. Boeing doing a little bit better today despite the market. It's actually up a little bit, but again, same with regular airlines, right? Boeing is in that little pocket, right? It has room to come down to the 175. I wouldn't trade this on the short term. You know, if you want to day trade it, possibly a short under 196 and a long over 200. That would be the only thing that I would looking for. But on the short term, again, not something that you want to get involved in currently. On the long side, in the long term side, possibly something you want to look at. But again, you need to give yourself the ability to add to your long term position at least 5 to 6 times. You know my question, Guild. Guild, this damn name, man. Under 68.75, Guild is gonna be in a little bit of a trouble here. Well, actually, under 60, yeah, 68.60. If it loses that 20 moving average, it could roll over here. But it is a name that tends to rally when the market's coming down on COVID news. So keep an eye on it. Again, not much there in the short term here. I think we talked about Baba. Riot and Mara, good short play. Let's take a look. If you guys would tell me what you guys want to do on the tickers, that way it speeds up some time and I don't really have to guess whether you want to go long term, short, swing, or whatnot. Mara and Riot. So Riot had a nice breakout yesterday into this 39.40 and had this little pocket, made a nice run up, but market pulled and decided to bring it back down. All right, so both these names, not something that I'd be interested in. If Riot gets back up above the 39.42, I'd be interested. Mara would need, for me, it would really need to come down and break that 47.26 for me to look interested in buying puts on this one. Otherwise, it's still stuck in this little channel. I would be looking to buy this long over that 58 level and puts under the 47.26. But currently, it's still stuck in a sideways channel, and I don't want to fight that. Facebook can be a short. Wait, someone said CCL for puts today. CCL for puts would be, you'd have to watch this CCL for puts under that 162 possibly, or if we pop back up to the 17 and show a double top, then you can get involved. Otherwise, don't just buy puts blindly here. Facebook, lots of names doing this little H, guys. You can see that in the pre-market, right? We have this push down, popping back up, hitting resistance, selling off. Facebook puts, let's take a look at the daily. Yeah, I have support of the 308.15. So for me, the the 308.15 needs to break, and if that breaks, then we have room to the 303 area, right? If that happens, if we lose that 308.15, then I'd be looking to buy puts on Facebook. Tesla day trade support. Tesla, your support would be at 1084, right? So if it comes down, hits that 1084, that should hold. If not, it's going to roll over to the 1070 and then 1056 on the daily. Not a name that I like to get involved in, especially that it could get a little choppy, and options are a little bit pricey on this one. Do you sometimes wait for confirmation from unusual flow or just retest breakthrough with price action? So during the day, when I'm day trading, I have the flow running, and I kind of look at flow to try to give me a sentiment on where things are going, right? And if I get that sentiment early and then that happens to line up with some sort of a pattern, then I like to take that trade. But I don't, if a breakout happens and I'm waiting for a retest and flow doesn't show me that retest, I don't neglect the trade. So you can't, these things are just to kind of guide you, just like studies on charts are. If you try to kind of put everything together, you're never going to be able to take a trade because nothing is going to come together as you want. Boss, AMD will go up today. I don't know if that's a question or statement, but it looks a little weak. It looks weaker than most names here. Losing that 20 moving average, 147. Some support here at 145. Next one down at 142. Let's take a look at the 15-minute time frame. So it is coming down to support, right? I would wait to see how this 145, 144 acts. Then if we see reversal patterns put in, then we can kind of take this on the long side. Otherwise, I wouldn't kind of mess with it as it's already coming down to support. I wouldn't even look to buy puts on this one at the moment. Everyone smash that like button. Yes, if you guys are tuned in here, go ahead and smash that like button. I would greatly appreciate it. Puts on QQQ and levels. Yeah, puts on QQQs. It would work. We have that 383 level that I talked about. Some support here at 382.90, 382.60. So a flush down to this level would be ideal, and then maybe bounce from here. But if we start getting weakness into these support levels, then a flush down to the 379 could be possible. All right, so make note of those levels. If you're buying puts on the downside, those are the levels that you could look to kind of cover. BITF, go long. BITF. So BITF has actually performed fairly well in comparison to the market. All right, was a name that I was watching actually a few days back. The daily doesn't look too bad here. We have some sort of a falling wedge happening. I believe it is a Bitcoin mining name. So the daily chart looks good. We have this breakout from this prior area, broke out. It's holding up fairly well here. Again, market is not ready for swings. If it was, I would have most likely taken this position and attempted this 934 and then the 1050 area. A little bit of a higher risk name, of course, sub $10, not something I mess with often. But if you're interested in this, I mean, it wouldn't be something I would day trade. You could try to swing this if you want with stops at around 675. When market gets volatile, you have to give yourself the ability to have wider stops. So possibly 675 or even 620 in order to see this kind of retract back. But as you can see, despite the last 2 days of being big red market days, this thing held up very well. So it's a positive sign on this name right now. 1203, 374 put QQQ. Yeah, sure. But again, you have to watch those levels. I'm liking Norwegian Cruise Lines 25 calls February 2022. And NHL. I always get this ticker's name wrong. What is it? NCHL? Yeah, NCHL doesn't come up. NCLH. There we go. So I would be really careful with that position that you're about to get into or already in. Okay, we talked about these charts, these cruise ships, airlines having this big gap on the daily. this is a pretty bearish candle that's been put in, right? So I would be careful with it, because if this thing decides to, you know, continue falling down, are you gonna hold on to that February 22 call, noticing that you're going down deeper in the red, right? You know, as traders, a lot of the times we're not wrong in direction, we're wrong on timing, right? So yes, your idea could be right, and oftentimes, you know, your idea will be right, because we're going through December, January, February 2022. But you know, are you going to be able to sit through this pullback and then watch the stock go back up, right? So you have to kind of time your entries a little bit better than just buying it on a big red day like this. Can you check Google short term, please? Thank you. Google. Google. So Google, again, not looking too hot. Obviously, the entire tech sector is not looking too hot. Broke this support multiple times, this 2864 level, now breaking 2833. If we can, hold on, let me fix something here. All right. So there's this little pocket that it could fall down into. All right, we would need some market strength to kind of hold this up. Otherwise, if Google gets under that 2820 level, 2814, it could see another flush down. And what I mean by that is, if we get under this 2812 level, there's a pretty nice pocket that it could fall into. All right. How do you set stop when spread is very wide, especially in the first 10 minutes? If I set 20% stop loss, I ended up losing. Yeah, so that's another thing with opening, opening range plays. If spreads are very wide, your 20% stop can essentially get stopped out, because as soon as you enter, you could be down about 5 to 10%. And if the stock pulls down a little bit with a wide spread, you can very easily get stopped out. So what happens in this regards, you really have to focus on either one, not trading the open, or two, using mental stops and having understanding your level 2 and knowing when you can put in limit orders and get out. So if that's something that you're not used to, I would definitely stay away from trading the open. Long term, buy this dip. First of all, if you're buying anything long term, you got to understand that you got to do financial research on the company, what their balance sheet looks like, etc. So HUT, similar look to BITF. This breakout level took place, pushed up, and now kind of holding here. I like the BITF chart a little bit more, but again, long term, if you want to start long term, I haven't looked at the financials. Again, I'm telling you, you have to look at the financials if you're looking to start something long term. If you have and you're okay with doing a long term position on this, you would have to start at least 1/6 maybe here, because you are a little bit at all-time highs here. So you want to add once and then possibly add back towards that 9, towards that 7, and then last ammo is down here at 5/6. These are ifs. If they pull down to it, these are the areas that you want to add to, right? You never want to open a full-size position on a stock that's been running quite a bit, especially from $3 all the way up to 16. You don't want to be buying a full-size position on long term right here, because if it pulls back, then you don't have any more ammunition to kind of buy your position. Alexander, you're very welcome, my man. I mess up ticker names all the time. Yeah, that's one ticker I always mess up. Norwegian Cruise Lines, I always mess that up. Any good tips on swing trade on down market? Don't swing trade. When the market's pulling, don't swing trade. That's the best advice I can give you. People bug me all the time about, bro, what's the next swing? When are we going to swing? You're not swinging enough. You're not putting enough swings out. I really don't care, because to me, the market needs to be there for me to put out swing trades. And if the market is weak, the market is pulling back, there's no sense in opening swing trades, and you're just going to constantly get stopped out. So gotta value money and understand where we are as a whole. PLTR. So PLTR is coming down here. Something that I'm looking to actually start a position on, probably closer to 17. But a nice little pocket here. It has room to continue to fall off here. In the pre-market, it does look a little weak. And under that 1920, should see further flush on PLTR. Again, you have to understand overall, lots of people are buying this, and now they're caught, essentially holding the bag again, because we had that big massive run up here. You had people buying up here, and just struggling, and every time it popped up they sold off into it, and now everyone who bought here are now struggling because it's falling down here. So we do have room to come down to that 17 area, and under that 17 area we have some support down at that 16. So we'll be watching this one on the downside as well. All right, guys, it's 9 a.m. I got to get back into the Discord. If you guys are still here, go ahead and smash that like button. We do this every Thursday at 8:30 a.m. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you guys all, as always. If you have any questions, make sure you reach out to me, whether it's on Discord or Twitter. I try to answer all my DMs as often and as much as I can. But as always, I appreciate every single one of you guys. Thank you guys all for tuning in, and we'll catch you again next week at 8:30 right here on YouTube.